a few hours short of having it wrong. I've heard people say that how can a God that is so good allow so much evil? How can there be a God and this kind of bad thing will happen to this person or bad thing will happen to that person? I may not have the answer, but I know that when things happen in this world, to you, to me, to different people, it's not only all just dependent on God. Sometimes there are physical things that we should also have done. And I also know in the theology, I understand that there's not only God that we refer to on earth, there's also the devil. So we need to understand where to lay the blame sometimes if there's blame to be laid, or focus on the things that we know to do, what efforts we know to make, what prayers we know to make, and generally hope for the best. I got a few calls on Father's Day, and I'm thankful to those people, although I never remember Father's Day. Actually, some time ago, when my daughter, Oyinkansola, was just about 9 months, 10 months old, I was alone in the house with her. She was in the sitting room, and I was in the bedroom reading, but she was just playing in the sitting room on her own. And suddenly, where I was in the room, I was feeling a bit uncomfortable. I just kept feeling like I should go outside to the sitting room. I just kept feeling I should go outside to the sitting room. I tried to push off that nudging, but when I thought it was stronger, I just thought, well, what do I stand to lose? Let me go outside and see what's going on. Lo and behold, as I walked into the sitting room, I saw my baby with a bunch of pins and needles and screws in her hand, and she was taking it to her mouth about to swallow them. I jumped and pushed those things off her hands and frightfully carried her and thanked God that I came out at that time. What I had forgotten was that we had just bought some furniture, and there had been screws and nuts and stuff that had been used to put them together, and there was a bunch that was still remaining. I left this child there, totally forgetting those things because they were hid somewhere. How she got to them, pulled them out, and decided to make snacks of them, I do not know. But I thank God that I came out at that time, and God helped me save the day. Have you imagined what would have happened if I refused to pay attention to that nudging and something had happened to my child? Who do I blame? God? The devil? Or myself for not yielding to the nudgings that was on me and I felt? Thank God I yielded. In 1979, again, I'm taking you back to Government College Ibadan, when I entered secondary school. A week after I got into school, I started having this abdominal pain. It was excruciating, I was vomiting and all that. My father had this driver called Mr. Dauda. He had brought me along with my dad to drop me in school in Ibadan. And I think from there, they moved ahead to Abeokuta or some other places not too far to do some official work. About a week or so after, they were on their way back to home, and there were no GSMs, there were no means to reach them. But for whatever reason, Mr. Dauda started feeling very funny. He told my dad, I feel like we should go back and check this boy. My dad said, nah. I mean, if he sees us, he'll be crying, he want to follow us, and we can't allow that. And my dad said, I think it's because you like this boy too much. Ignore him, let's go. Because at night they were not supposed to come back to check me, not too long after they dropped me in school. But Mr. Dauda kept insisting that I think we should go and check this boy. Unknown to my dad, I had been admitted in hospital. And the dispenser had examined me and concluded that I was missing home and at best maybe I had some constipation. And he was treating me accordingly. He had given me Andrew's liver salt and a few other things. And I was in the school dispensary. But because Mr. Dauda was feeling some nudges, I was able to convince my father that, look, let's go and check this boy. They decided to come to school. Lo and behold, I was in the school dispensary. My dad went there and saw me on admission, and I was crying. I was happy to see my father. I was begging him, please just take me home. And he said, nah, the dispenser said, ignore him. I mean, it's just homesick and he's looking for an excuse to go home. So my dad believed the dispenser. I moved away to thank the vice principal, Mrs. Thompson. We called her Mama Tommy, quite a spiritually astute woman. And my dad and the driver went to see Mrs. Thompson to thank her for allowing him to see me and relate to Mrs. Thompson all that had happened in the dispensary. Suddenly, Mrs. Thompson looked at my dad and said, I'm feeling funny, sir. I think you should take him home. That was very unusual. But because it was coming from the vice principal, my dad decided to concede. And he took me home. And all through that journey, I was vomiting, I was in pain, my abdomen was tender. Anyhow, cut long story short, what my father did not know, what the dispenser did not know, was that I had acute appendicitis. And from the account I heard later, the doctors that they rushed me to when we got to Lagos said we were just a few hours short of having a rupture, we could have made it far more complicated. Anyhow, my life was again saved because somebody else had a nudging and decided to yield. How many things have gone wrong in our lives simply because we refused to yield to some nudges? I hear things like, and I was feeling funny. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have gone there. Many times, not yielding to things that we should have yielded to have cost us so much. And yet, we don't like to blame ourselves. We don't even like to improve on our own sensitivity. We want to blame every other thing and every other person. This is not a blame game. I'm talking about us being sensitive enough and more sensitive to be able to save our lives, the lives of loved ones, and the lives of so many other people, or situations of so many people around us. We can't afford to be so noisy that will not be sober enough to be able to pick nudges, to pick voices that are speaking within us to say we should do something or the other. You can't allow worry, anxiety, fear to be so loud in your life that you can't even hear your soul or your spirit trying to push you in a particular direction. Let's pause and rethink these things. There are so many times that life, through God, wants to save us, or has tried to save us from some things, some relationships we should have said no to, some businesses we shouldn't have gone into, some journeys we shouldn't have made. But we were too excited, or too sad, or too bothered, or too worried, or too happy to be able to pick it when there's a nudge for us to move in a different direction. So please, fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, whoever you may be listening to this, please develop the capacity to be sober so that you can pick some of these signs, because they may save your life, they may save the life of your loved ones, or somebody that you never really knew. Please, it's important. Be less noisy and more sensitive.